10 months after the apocalypse, a man named Lincoln has lost everything and everyone he knew. He had an entire life. The perfect family, the perfect house, the perfect job, the perfect wife, and the most amazing children. But nothing lasts forever. Neither does the world before. When everything ended, Lincoln made a promise to himself that he would find his purpose in whatever world is left. But after 10 months, he is still trying to find his purpose in this world gone mad. Chapter 1: Reanimated Corpses. 10 months earlier. We open in the city of Washington, D.C. Police everywhere, people breaking into buildings, people running everywhere. Then suddenly, we see the entire city go dark. The lights go off, and we hear everyone screaming as the city goes dark. Currently, we see a man walking in a suit in a field. We can clearly see this man hasn't eaten in a long time. We focus on his eyes and then it slowly transitions to his dead eyes as he is now a walking dead. He walks in this field, but then suddenly a machete goes right through the other side of his head. And we see a man with a machete covered in blood. The man looks at the dead head that he just killed and says, "Whoever you are now, I'm sorry." After Lincoln kills the deadhead, he notices a barn in front of him and he searches it, but there's nothing. He notices a house up on the hill, but it's almost empty. There's no food left in the kitchen and the rooms have been fully cleared. But he does find a jacket that he likes in one of the closets, and then he keeps moving. Lincoln starts walking down this road and then suddenly he finds a car on the side of the road, and it luckily has a half tank of gas. He takes the car and drives off. The sun is about to set, and unfortunately Lincoln's car runs out of fuel. No, not right now. He has to ditch the car and go on foot. Lincoln is walking, but then suddenly he notices some footprints on the side of the road. They look new. Lincoln notices it, but he decides to just keep walking and try to find some food. Lincoln doesn't have much energy to keep walking. Then he sees what looks to be 20 to 30 deadheads up on the road, and he can't hide from them because they already see him. So Lincoln takes his machete and he starts taking them out. But as he starts taking out the dead, we see him killing someone in the past with the same machete. We can see he has some PTSD from something in the past, but he tries to snap out of it so he can finish killing the deadheads around him. We then see his machete covered in blood, and he continues to walk down this road and still looking for food. A few hours later, the sun is set and he's aimlessly walking the roads, but then he smells something and also hears something. It's a fire coming from the woods. He walks towards the noises and he walks towards it and sees two guys talking around this fire. Lincoln hides behind the trees in order to make sure they don't see him. One of the guys walks away for a second and the other guy says, "Where are you going?" And the other guy says, "Piss." Lincoln is hiding in the woods and watching them, but then he gets caught by one of the guys who comes up behind him and knocks him out. "10 months earlier. We see a helicopter in the sky and it's flying over Washington, D.C. We can see that the military is trying to keep things together for as long as they can. Lincoln, his wife Haley, and his two kids are packing up, and according to Lincoln, he thinks they should leave the city and save themselves, but Haley tells Lincoln, "This has been our house for almost 10 years. The kids grew up here." Lincoln tells her, "Listen, we can stay here until it gets too bad that we can't ever leave, or we can leave now and live." Haley says okay, and Lincoln gets the kids ready. Currently, 30 minutes later, Lincoln wakes up with his hands tied up by a tree. A man named Tom comes up to talk to him and says, "Sorry man, I just couldn't take any chances, especially because I don't know who you are and what you were doing hiding in the woods when you could have said hello." Lincoln laughs at him and says, "You think I'm gonna take the chance that you could try to slice my head off when I could just kill you and take your stuff?" Tom laughs, and then his friend Billy comes and says, "What the hell is this?" And Tom says that it's a guy I found sneaking around in the woods, waiting for his moment to most likely take us out. Lincoln tells them he's sorry. He ran into them, but knocking him out was a little much. Lincoln tells them, "Listen, I'm starving." And some awkward silence. "I haven't eaten in days. Anywhere I find has already been cleared. I was desperate, and I'll admit that. But if you want to kill me over that, then you're the most heartless person I've ever had the pleasure of meeting." And Tom tells him he'd rather be safe than sorry. But Tom tells him, "Over the last 10 months, you wouldn't believe the kind of people we ran into." And Billy says, "Let's just say that we used to save everyone we came across almost a year ago. But now, we've come to this. A man that doesn't have anything left and is desperate for food. What kind of people would that make us if we just killed him?" And Tom looks at Billy and he looks concerned. But he turns around to Lincoln and points a knife in his face and says, "I don't trust anyone in this world, and that's not going to change today. So if you try anything, you'll be dead in seconds." Lincoln understands. Tom unties Lincoln and he sits down with him and Billy, and they eat. And Lincoln asks them if they're on the road or if they have a place, and Tom tells Lincoln that they are all they have left. Lincoln says it's a cruel world with people who do crazy things just for one more day. And Tom asks Lincoln, "So how did you get here?" "10 months earlier, Haley is getting the car ready. She puts all their stuff in the back, and then we see the military drive up on the street. And they tell Lincoln that they will be taking him and his family to a safe place till this is over. And Lincoln doesn't agree with this decision. The guys tell Lincoln, "Sir, we are doing this with a lot of families in order to keep them safe. You've got 2 kids and a wife?" Lincoln says they are coming with him. And one of the military guys says that your family will be dead soon. So what does that matter? Lincoln tries to come at the guys, but 2 other military guys take down Lincoln, and then other military guys tell Haley and the kids to get in the trucks. And the military takes Lincoln's family away from him, and he's left all by himself. Currently, Lincoln says to Tom, "That's my story." And there's some awkward silence for a minute. And Tom tells Lincoln if he wants, he can join with him and Billy. And if your family is out there somewhere, then we will find them. Lincoln says he doesn't know if they're alive. Tom calls him out on it and says, "I think you're too scared to find out." And Lincoln says, "I just don't want to think they're alive if they aren't." Tom tells Lincoln that it's better to stick together and have each other's back. Lincoln laughs and says, "After all that?" And Tom tells Lincoln, "People do crazy things just for one more day." And Lincoln accepts to go with them, and they'll leave first thing tomorrow. A few hours later, Tom and Lincoln are asleep, and Billy is on watch. He notices a deer and he thinks he should try to shoot it, but then he doesn't want to wake them up. And more importantly, draw every deadhead from miles away. 10 minutes later, he walks into the woods for a few minutes to see if he can find that deer. But he hears something. Walking sounds in the woods. He starts to worry as he keeps walking, and then he sees some blood on a tree. And as Billy approaches this tree, a man knocks Billy down, and Billy looks at this man with a scared look, and the man says, "This isn't your world anymore." And we cut to black as Billy passes out.